Hey guys, I told you that I would make a video on how to study the Bible with somebody, and so here you go. I know though, right out of the gate that there's 100 books out there, 1,000 books out there that you could read on how to study the Bible, and we could go into the depths of the original languages and hermeneutics and all of that. But my goal here is just to give you a simple way for just any Christian to be studying the Bible with somebody else, and so. So here you go. There's a few things to do before you meet and a few things to do when you meet that I have down here. And I'm going to post these on, I think, the Facebook page or the website or wherever Luke's going to put them up. But so you'll have sort of this outline. But I want to walk you through it real quick and explain it. Number one, before you meet, you want to pick a passage. You want to pick a passage of scripture that's going to be really good for that individual. And maybe, if it's another believer, what you're trying to do is you're just picking a passage that's going to bless both of you as you study through it together. But if it's an unbeliever, be strategic. Pick a passage that's really going to point to the gospel. And I might suggest something like Ephesians 2 or John 3 or something like that. But pick your passage of scripture that you're going to cover. And once you've picked a passage, pray, ask God to give you understanding and dig into the text, paying attention to the author's intent. Like what is the main idea the author's trying to communicate here? Ask yourself that question. What's it say? What's it mean? What's it teach me about God? What's it teach me about man? What's it teach me about the Christian life? Ask those kinds of questions. And then I would go and read a commentary or a study Bible or some kind of secondary source on this passage just to make sure that you really do understand it correctly and to make sure that there isn't anything that you missed. And if there is a little something that you missed, whatever, just be faithful, study the passage to the best of your ability. And then I have a few things for you to do when you meet. All right, when you meet, I would suggest that you cover at least these 4 things. And well, actually there's 3 things, sorry. And there's 4 questions you're going to ask when you meet. But before you meet, I would encourage you to let the person know what passage that you're going to be going over together, and to let them know what the discussion questions that you're going to ask as you go through it. And so here you go. I mean, you're going to read the passage together when you meet. All right, that's number 1. Read the passage together. Number 2, you ask the following questions, and these are the questions that I think that you should forward to them before you get together. Number 1, what's the main point of the passage? What is the author striving to communicate? What's the big idea or the theme of the passage? Okay, number 2, ask them, is there anything that stood out to you? What was it in this passage that stood out, that grabbed your attention or that you found interesting? Number 3, do you have any questions regarding this passage? Was there anything that you didn't understand, or anything that is maybe connected to this passage that you're curious about? And then number 4, you ask, how can we apply this to our lives? How can we apply this to our own situation and live this out? And then, especially if it's a believer, you might ask, who is it in my life that needs to know this truth? Who can I go tell about this passage? But so there you have it. When you meet, you read the passage together, you go over those 4 questions. What's the main point? Was there anything that stood out? Do you have any questions? And how can you apply this to your life? And then you just close in prayer. And so I encourage you guys to be doing this. I know right now during this pandemic, it's probably going to happen either online, or through video, or over the phone, or something like that. But be faithful. Be faithful to be making disciples. Be making disciples in the church, and be looking outside the church walls to be making disciples of the world, because they need to hear this message that we have. They need to know the truth of Jesus and His Word. God bless you guys. Praying that God would use you.